What's going on, everyone? This is Matt, Squeaky Clean Air, and today we have Shaun's Grand Am, Pontiac Grand Am GT. These things were the shit, supercharged back in the day. I remember this one is sort of a blast from the past. It's awesome because it's in super clean condition, but it came with some air suspension issues. The front passenger side bag is blown, and he wants me to look over his audio system. And he wants me to hopefully install LEDs. We'll see if we have enough time. I do want to make sure that the air suspension is under control so he can get it running. If I won't be able to do the LEDs and some of the extra stuff, I'll have to send it over to my boys and Five River Customs. We'll see how they're able to help out with this. And if not, we'll have to figure it out somehow. But for now, we're going to focus on the air suspension. Stay tuned. All right, so here it is. Pontiac Grand Am in all of its glory. Yes. Okay, so the issue that we're having is this thing is running half-inch lines, dedicated valves for each individual sides. But unfortunately, this bag is blown to smithereens. I think perhaps maybe because there wasn't enough air, or maybe he forgot to air up, or it was just some kind of a mechanical issue, or something rubbed through. It looks like probably the wheel rubbed through. Who knows? Or actually, maybe that is the culprit right there. So we're gonna have to file that down for sure. I don't want any sticking out of any metal parts or anything like that. So I'm gonna file that down and cut it off, make sure it's smooth. This seems to be a little bit cut out, probably because they're trying to fit these struts. These appear to be universal air struts or easy streets, who knows? It's from around that time. I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I know for a fact that this is an airlift bag. So I'm in the process of removing the front because that's what's blown. The rears are sleeves. They look like a sleeve setup from airlift. They're perfectly fine. There's absolutely no issues whatsoever. There's no cracks in the bag. These seem to be pretty good, so we're not going to touch anything with the rears. We're going to focus just on the issues with the car at hand, just to make sure that it's able to air up and stay aired up. And unfortunately, this is preventing it from happening. So I'm in the process of removing the strut. I'm going to remove the strut, and then I'm going to take it apart, order up the appropriate bag, and we're going to continue on. Stay tuned. Actually, while we're on the topic of airlines, notice how I removed this airline. You can see a definite gouge inside the airline. That to me tells me that the teeth inside the push to connect fitting, which are over here, okay, have by nature will always gouge the line. So we're going to put it back in just as a tip for any kind of an air suspension installation or anything like that, or when you guys are working on removing your struts, maintaining your struts, always recut it. So you always put a fresh line. So we're going to cut that out, make sure we have a fresh bit, and we're going to clean that with a rag in order to make sure that we're putting in a clean line into a fitting when we're going to be installing. So it's probably better to do it right now so we don't forget. All right, guys. Ram Air by Pontiac. Guys, have a look at this engine. 3.4 liter GT. Beautiful motor, actually. Nice. Well, okay. It's a Vortex supercharger. So this thing is pushing some serious coin. I had no idea that the engine is this nice, to be honest with you guys. So it's got a rotary supercharger on it. It's got polished engine bay. Wow, and it's got a nitrous. Well, okay, I did not expect this. I 100% did not expect this. I did not know that his car is like this, but this is actually a pretty interesting setup. So 3.4 liter Ram Air with an upgraded Vortex supercharger. So we're talking about some serious coin here. This is actually pretty cool. Yeah, I don't want to take any chances, so I filed it down, smoothed it out, no more jagged edges, no more point over here. Sanded it down and made sure it's smooth, and I put a nice clean coat of Por 15 on it in order to prevent it from not rusting. He had some kind of a gouge there as well. I put some Por 15 on it as well in order to make sure that, you know, his wall doesn't rust. So far so good, but it was a little bit too close for comfort over here, that pointy spot. Probably most likely went on the bag and it ruptured the bag, especially when you went over a pothole, moved the whole suspension and wobbled. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what spurs your bag, especially when the cut was right there and there's really not other, suspension pieces that might come into play. Maybe he didn't air it up, or maybe the bag did not have enough air in it. So it was kind of at its compressed configuration. It just gouged it up slowly over time and it broke it. So this way we can ensure that there's no sharp spots going in. Majority of airbag failure, guys and girls, it's not really the bag blowing by itself. It's it's very rare if it's not sealed correctly. Sure, the bag will blow, right? But not the most sort of common problem with bags blowing. What it is something will come into contact with the bag over time, even if it's a small rupture because of an airline beside the bag and stuff like that, will cause the bags to prematurely blow, and then you're gonna have a problem, which is most likely what happened in this case. Okay, so I took it apart. It appears to be an airlift bag. I wasn't sure. It's ruptured here. So it's Gonzo 30137. I think these are for the universal struts. So this is a universal air setup, which a lot of people sort of do. It's the easiest, best way to sort of do bag setups, but we're going to need to get this replaced. This still has the old airlift logo on it. So took it apart, checked the bearing on top. The bearing still moves and it goes around, so we're okay. So it's just a matter of getting a replacement bag, which I don't have in stock. I'm going to have to order up, and then we can put it back together. We're going to replace the other side as well, so they're both matching. Good idea when it comes in for maintenance. And so you guys stay tuned. We'll put it back together, and then we'll start chiseling a lot more on this car. But for now, we're going to take a break. Oh boy, where do I start? Okay, so the easy street struts for this car are discontinued by Airlift. You cannot find these replacement bags. They're probably like 30 years old now. Just kidding. Probably about 15 years old. Airlift has discontinued. Nobody can actually source these bags, period. These are the Easy Street struts or the RCSI struts. Who knows what these are, to be honest with you? I don't know. But this shock is blown, so we can't use it. I cannot use the bag. So what we ended up doing is I got some factory shocks, and we're doing universal air. So I welded up a lower bracket. Just painted it up. This is a brand new factory shock. And that way I'll be able to use a universal airbag. Bada bing, bada boom. That's probably the easiest thing. Cut the purchase down. Just like that. There's a cap on the shock, which is unnecessary because this is completely bolted up. So we're okay. The cap is just basically a dust cap. And remove the lower mount, which we don't need for the springs. And that way we're able to put the bag over, and there's our air strut. When in doubt, that's pretty much the only option we have for these old vehicles. They don't really make coilover kits for this. I wasn't able to find a coilover kit, unfortunately. So this is the best way we're going to have to do, especially when one is blown. I'm going to do the other one to the other side, and we're going to run universal airbags in the front. All right, so universal air strut is in. It's a beauty. It's based off of a factory strut, so you know you're going to have direct fit. We're using the half-inch line, ladder line. Going in here, nice and clean, welded it up, painted it, so it's good to go. Give it a couple nice welds, nice and clean, everything is good. I'm going to seal these up in just a second, and make sure they're not going to poke the bag. So that's pretty much it. So this is it for the car. I'm only going to be doing air suspension on this. The rears are fine. Unfortunately, Easy Streets are hard to find. You cannot find Grand Am kits out there. Unfortunately, I can't even get a Grand Am kit, so this will have to do. At least he's got a brand new strut, a brand new bag, so he doesn't have any leaks, and he's able to drive the car and continue on with what else he wants to do with his vehicle. But for now, this was it for the air suspension.